Hey, what's up guys? It is I, Mark Yoon, and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So what I wanted to talk about today is Algol in Soul Calibur 7. Now I wanted to kind of go over his characterization, my kind of ideas on where the character is going to go and what his motivations are going to be, and if this is the same Algol as it is in the previous timeline, the one that was, trapped in the astral chaos. So let's get right into the video, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I enjoy making them. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is this the same Algol as it was in the old timeline? Now, from the branching timelines videos that we talked about, where we talked about the differences between the different kind of narrations behind like timelines and reboots and all that kind of stuff, I ended it with saying that I'm not sure if Algol is actually the same Algol as it was before. Most of these characters are new variations of the character from a new timeline. The only exception being that Zasalamel, I believe, conversed with his other universe version of Zasalamel to catch him up to speed on what was going on, and Cassandra from Soul Calibur 4 was lost in the astral chaos and wound up speaking to herself in this timeline. And so far, those are the only instances that we have of any kind of link to the old timeline. Even Ishka Acht, which was from Soul Calibur Legends, who's being set up as one of the main antagonists of the next game. She was actually a different character in that universe, and I'm not even sure if Soul Calibur... I think Soul Calibur Legends is actually canonical. I think it takes place between like Soul Calibur 1 and 2, if I remember correctly. It's between one of the mainline games, but I think it is canon to the old timeline. So she is completely different from what he used to be in the past timeline. So it's sufficient to say, is there only one Algol? Now we know that Algol started out as the Hero King, looking for his son. He created Soul Calibur to kind of be an antagonist to, or an adversary to, Soul Edge. However, he became crazy with power and he was trapped within the sword. His essence was trapped within the sword, I should say, his soul, merging with Soul Calibur itself. And then he was lost to the astral chaos. Now, I believe it was a bunch of his subordinates or something that trapped him in there because of his lust for power. And then we saw in Soul Calibur 5, he came out, battled against like Mitsurugi and stuff, and was trying to conquer the world pretty much before being banished again. So is this the same, I almost said Aeon, Algol as that variant? I want to go on a limb and actually say yes. I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is the same, because maybe though there's different timelines and different worlds and universes, maybe there's only one astral chaos, and the astral chaos kind of works as the in-between. So anything that's actually lost within the astral chaos can travel between the universes or whatever. Obviously it's chaotic, so there's no way to force the energies to catapult you to where you exactly want to go, which is why Cassandra was lost for so long and kind of went insane due to how lost she was and didn't even remember who she was for a time. So I think that merging with the astral chaos, being lost in there as an essence of himself, partially being confined to that version of Soul Edge, or Soul Calibur rather, I think that it is the same Aeon. I could be wrong, and I don't know if they're going to change his backstory up or not, but if they do, I think it should actually be a little bit more impressive than it was before, because he was a little, his backstory was a little bland. There was not much information out there, even in the encyclopedia and such, as to his meanderings beforehand. And I've said before, I wish we could play as Algol as the Hero King, transitioning into Algol as we know it. But seeing how his motivations changed and who he's manipulated by and how the sword manipulated him, I just think that would be a very interesting arc for his character. But in Soul Calibur 7, I think when we're talking about him as a disembodied voice, speaking to the Swords and Shepherds, mainly Ishka Acht from the Astral Chaos, I think the best way that we can go about getting a good story out of this is him obviously possessing Ishka Acht, and Ishka Acht acting as his kind of arbiter. And then as soon as she is defeated, I think that Aswell is going to be working behind the scenes trying to still create the Ultimate Seed. And when the Ultimate Seed is fully realized, I think at this point, that's when Algol will enter this reality with a newly formed body. I mean, we've seen Like I said before in the last video, we've seen Soul Calibur and Soul Edge manipulate and create bodies out of like nothing practically, just to suit their own purposes. So the fact that Nightmare was like a clone of Siegfried for a while just to be a vessel for Soul Edge's power, I think we can get a similar situation. Now, I don't know if Ishka Act is going to be taken over or if a new body is going to be created and he's going to use the Ultimate Seed to come into this universe, setting up the next game or DLC or whatever you want to go from there. But I think that's the best way we can go about actually getting a good narrative standpoint from him. Now, I have seen a lot of people push back on Algol saying that he was not like a bad guy per se. That's why I usually say like antagonist, but he was kind of a villain because like he was obviously tossed away because of his lust for power, meaning that he wanted to take everything over, and that was proven in Soul Calibur 5 when he was once again trapped because he wanted to like literally like become the ruler of like the entire universe. So I think that the best way to get some characterization out of his character is to, once he is defeated, give him his own Soul Chronicle and talking about like how he actually got to that time. And I think it would be a nice way to tie up the old timeline with the new timeline, because a lot of people are still very confused about whether it's still canonical or whether this is just a whole new story because it's replacing events that took place after Soul Edge. Rewriting Soul Calibur 1 without what we saw with Soul Calibur 6, or whether that universe still exists out there tied to it in some way or fashion, whether that universe has ended or anything, we have no idea. So it'd just be a nice way to actually tie those two things together and get more characterization out of Algol. I do think that his moveset needs to probably change a little bit. He's a boss character, right? So obviously his moveset's going to be overpowered when it comes to that. But being able to use him for Create a Soul and stuff like that, similar to what we do with Aswell, I think that it's possible. I don't want to see his moveset tweaked too much. I do like that he wields a variation of both swords. I think the Ultimate Seed that Aswell creates would be the perfect weapon for him, and maybe since it is a newly created sword, maybe it's got different attributes to it that he can utilize in his moveset. I think that like it's going to be really fun to see what their take on this new character is, since it's like a different team that actually created Soul Calibur 4 and 5. So let's see what happens with the new Project Soul in the upcoming Soul Calibur 7, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, how you think they're going to treat Algol. What do you think the best way of handling Algol is going to be, or what would even be the most interesting for you? Any and all thoughts are always welcome in the comment section down below. And as I always say, guys, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you.